He's going to take a blowpipe, the pipes with the hole in them. That's a blowpipe, and he's going to gather glass and start putting on his colors. So he's going to be going in the furnace right now. Dip that steel rod in the furnace. Kind of wind it on like honey. And there we go. He's just shaping that up and cooling it on that steel table. That's called a marver. So he's shaping that up and letting it cool down, and then he'll go back in the furnace and gather more glass. Okay? And then he'll put color on. So he's going to go and lay that glass down into that color, that frit. And since it's so hot, it's just picking up those pieces of color.
Okay.
So you can tell it's kind of a balancing act, right? It gets hot and it gets all drippy and running around on you. You have to control it by cooling it. And he's doing several different techniques on the marver to shape the glass and disperse the color in the glass where he wants it. So this shapes that glass and cools it. Pretty soon he's going to pop a bubble in that glass. So he's hooking up his blow hose right now. His little hose on the end. And he's going to take wet newspaper and just cool that glass down. And while he's doing that, shaping it, he's blowing just a little bit to increase the size of that bubble. So we have to blow that bubble a little bit at a time. You can't just blow the whole thing out in one shot. It won't work out. So we go to this stage right now. There's a nice even bubble inside of that glass shape. And now he's got to take and let that cool down, because we're going to put another gather over the top of that. So this is called a strip gather. It's all about shaping, all about the right shape to make the shape that we want to end up with.
Sure.
You know, there's many shapes you can make and many different setups. That's what we call a setup. But he's done a lot of these, and he knows the kind of setup that he needs to create this big round shape, like a big round platter. So he's going to use that compressed air to cool that end of it off, and cooling that end will allow him to save that glass on the bottom of that shape there. So now he's going to start blowing and inflating the bubble. Again, using that newspaper to cool off certain spots and he's going to start blowing it up. Using that compressed air to cool that tip down so it doesn't get too thin. He's inflating that while he's cooling that off a little bit. Again, more blowing, inflating the bubble, cooling that bottom off so it doesn't get too thin, putting a little bit of that compressed air on there. He's still blowing. You can see that bubble getting bigger. So now he needs to get a little more heat in there. So we open those doors to make room for him. He's going to use this tool called the jacks next. That's that big long tool. That's going to put a constriction line in the glass. So later on we can knock off that bubble onto another pipe. So he's going to take and squeeze that tool while Marvin helps turn, and we're going to squeeze that into a constriction line, and that'll allow that bubble to break free from the blowpipe. Takes a lot of teamwork to do something like this. You know, 3 people works out real well. That down a little bit to create a small constriction line so we can break that off easy. So we're going to trade off here in a second. I'm going to sit down at the bench. He's going to go get what's called a punty, P-U-N-T-Y. That's going to be another steel rod that we use to transfer this onto. So that's going to be the new handle to work on this piece so we can open it up. Right now, Logan's getting a small gather of glass. He's going to go to the Marver table, cool that off and shape it. It's important that it's a specific shape so it works and it comes off easily. So a lot of experience goes into this. All right. So he's cooling the end of that. He's going to stick that on right in the middle, be nice and centered. He's going to let that stiffen up a little bit. Let me know when, and then I'll start putting a little water on. Okay? So, one more little bit. Okay. Little tap, and off it comes. So now it's open, and we can go about opening this up. So we used the metal jacks to make that constriction. Now we're going to use some wooden jacks called parchafi sticks to open it up. So now he's taking the jacks and opening, and Marvin is smoothing up that lip. The lip is the opening of the vessel. So he's pushing that and making it nice and smooth. He's going to take that torch right now. That's what we call the fluff torch. And that will heat up the back end of that piece. So when he goes to spin it out, that part opens up. So now we're going to open up these big doors because he's getting a lot bigger. All right, so he's taking those sticks and he's opening that up a little bit more. We want it to be open enough where it's easy to spin this out and make it flat. Pretty soon he's going to pop out of there and spin it real fast, and it's going to flatten out into a flat disc. Again, that's called a rondelle. Here it is. So the next step is he's going to let that cool just a little bit to make sure it's not moving anymore. Then Marvin, who's dressed up in the hot suit, is going to come over and grab the edges of that. We're going to put a little bit of water on that punny. He's going to tap it, and it's going to break loose. And then he'll take that hot torch right there, and he'll smooth that in. Then we go over to this oven behind us, and we put it in there, because if that cools off too fast, it's going to break.